You're looking to be more creative and innovative? And one of the keys to unlocking your potential is an entrepreneurial mindset. I like to say it's mission granted. No one is successful overnight.
Keep on keeping on.
Good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are at in the world, and welcome to day 24 of 31 Days to Pat It 2. What that means is there's only 7 days left of this fun and excitement and insights that we've been gaining from all of our guests, as well as coaching, visually coaching different business builders and people putting a dent in the universe with their actions and their endeavors. I just want to say that this has gone by faster than I imagined it would. We've had over 60 guests on this show since we started, and I just want to take a moment and say, Amy, thanks for all your hard work and putting this together. Where are you?
It's been really fun to learn.
Thank you. Yeah, with about zero experience.
It's been really fun. We've learned a lot, and I've just been sitting on this side cheering like a howler monkey on mute because we have some incredible people out there, and I've made connections and friends, and people I'm watching, and it's just inspiring to me. So thank you for the invitation to be part of this with you. Even I love being back here, just listening. I learned so much, and this is fun. I think
Amy. So
you did a good thing here, Sean. This was a really good move. This was really, really good. You helped a lot of people, and I was helped in immeasurable ways. I probably don't. Yeah.
Well, we've learned a lot, and it was a stretch. Again, that 21 days to 31 days was to change our behavior. Right? You didn't know your behavior was going to get changed in the process, but I knew mine was, and anybody else who was part of this. And so Dolly, as well. Hi, Dolly.
It reignited mine.
And my mother's, I bet you, has been changed a little bit too. I know she comes in every Sunday. So,
yeah.
But I do think that this is just what I want to highlight is just graciousness, right? Being gracious for those things you do have in your life, no matter what it is, right? There are small things, and most of the time it comes down to people. And so I'm grateful you're in my life, Amy. And
it's a real pleasure to be here.
We got to do Justin Bieber.
Okay. All right.
You can post that one on TikTok.
That's fantastic.
All right, everybody. Let's get back to it. Let's bring in my mother. Insights from Sean's mom. Hi, Mom.
Sean.
How are you doing today?
I'm doing great.
Thanks for getting up so early. It's 6:30 a.m. in California. And,
yes, it is.
And I gotta say, you're a trooper, and I appreciate it.
Thanks, Sean. My pleasure.
What?
My pleasure.
Well, thank you. You've added so much value, and you bring a new perspective. And I've learned a tremendous amount through our engagement, where I've learned about myself more, and will continue to do so, I'm sure. We've been at this now for this is our third Sunday, right? Third Sunday? And so what's on your mind then? What are you thinking about as you understand what we're trying to do and how we're trying to help people? Is there anything that comes to your mind that you think would be valuable to share with our audience out there today?
Well, actually, I do. What I'm going to kind of do, Sean, is recap what I talked about before. It ties into so many of your speakers' parts of it. Mm-hmm. I'm gonna put it together.
Okay.
And so it starts with we need to have a goal.
Mm-hmm.
And then
I'm gonna go to the vision board, Amy. Here we go. Okay. I'm gonna follow you along, Mom. Go ahead. Have a goal.
You have to have a goal of what you want to do, where you want to be, whatever your goal is. And then once you have a goal, comes affirmations. And affirmations are things that you say that help you along to your goal, because it puts it into your mind and your mind starts picking it up. For example, you might say that you allow money to flow to you easily and effortlessly. If it's money, if it's something that you want that you don't know how to do, you might say, I'm brave enough to handle whatever comes along the trip. So your affirmation sets the tone of what's going to happen in your life.
Sets the tone. I like that.
Yes. And then once you have your affirmation, then it takes action. And because your affirmation is about your goal, your actions will be in line with your goal and move you along to your goal. And the actions might be, and what happens when you have a goal and affirmations, things that start appearing that relate to what you want to have happen. And it's kind of amazing. They just show up. So your actions must align with what you want to do. And then next is your speaking. So your speaking is very important. If you think you can't do something, you can't. And if you think you can, you can. And as the famous Henry Ford, the founder of Ford Motor Company way back 2 centuries ago, said, if a man thinks he can't, he can't. No, if a man thinks he can't or a man thinks he can, he's right. So whatever you think makes you right, your mind, your body, you go along with it. So your speaking is really important. You have to keep it in line with your goal and your actions. Pardon?
I just said, what I was doing was what you think, right, is what you create.
Oh, I see. Yeah, good idea. There's the
it's I'm drawing really fast on an iPad here, Mom. So please forgive my drawings. They're let go of all judgment. You are what you think.
Yes, absolutely. And so it's kind of like if you say, or you try, I'm going to try.
Oh, wait, no,
so try picking up a cup. Try. You can try. So you are either picking it up or you aren't. So you say, I'm going to pick up this cup.
Do.
I'm doing
No
it.
try, as Yoda would say.
Yeah, no.
I want to touch on one thing you brought up back here, which I drew a magnet. It's a really poor magnet, but it is a magnet.
I see.
Attracts for what I want, right? It's a magnet for what I want, right? Your actions, your affirmations.
Yes.
Talk to me about how you become a magnet for what you want. Like I know it's about affirmations, but you talked about some things that maybe some people would correlate to a miracle or you know what I mean? Like things start coming to you and start arriving, and it happens every time. Like it's happening right now in terms of just putting this 31 days to Padded 2. Every day is like, whoa, man, we put something out here, we're getting it back, which we thought in our minds would happen, and it's happening. But let's talk a little bit about this, because how do you become a magnet for attracting what you want? Talk about this. How do you become a magnet for attracting what you want?
Well, through the steps I just gave you and thinking. I mean, it's like it becomes obsessive. Eat, sleep, drink, everything. It's all about this is going to happen. It's going to happen. And I go to bed thinking about it happening. And so when it's the last thought in my mind when I go to sleep, and everything seems to align. I'm going to give an actual example for me.
Yeah, I was going to say, can you have an example? Perfect.
You bet. So my example is I was a brand new realtor in 1978. That's a long time ago. And women, the last century, and women were brand new in real estate. It was a male-dominated industry. And of course, they did not think we belonged there and that we belonged at home taking care of those babies. And so there I was, one of a few in the office that was a woman. And it was not the easiest thing because you weren't wanted, and they made it very clear. So for me, one day I was sitting on the floor. That's where you sit at a desk, not on the floor, and take calls. And I got a call from.
You were in California, Mom. I thought maybe you're sitting Indian style, oming the. Just kidding.
Wow.
Nudge, nudge, wink, wink.
No. I was sitting at a desk, and you take calls. And a gentleman called in and said he wanted to buy an apartment building. I go, whoa, apartment building. I like that. More money. And so right away, while I'm talking to him, that fear comes up. I don't know how to do that. I just learned how to sell a house, And then so we kept talking, and I found what he wanted. And he wanted a nice building in Los Gatos, and that was always a high-end, pricey area, and would get high rent was his thought process, and on the border of Silicon Valley. So I tell him, yeah, I can do that. I'll find you one. So what I found out in my process was that there's residential real estate and there's commercial real estate, and all the multiple units are in commercial. So here we go. So I start calling commercial brokers. Nobody will share anything. They go, what are you doing in real estate? You don't belong over here at commercial. You're in residential. You don't even belong in real estate. I go, well, I'll show them. And so I developed a method of, if I don't have anything to show the client, I'm not making a sale, right? So I'm making a sale. I got my affirmation going. I'm making a sale of an apartment building. And I'll find out how to do it. Whatever it takes, I'm going to do it. So the first thing is you got to find something to show the person, the buyer. So I started calling, and they wouldn't cooperate. So I go, how am I going to get them to cooperate with me? So I call back, and I have the phone, and I'm talking to them, and they won't give me information. So I go, wait, just a minute. My client's here. He's talking. Well, hold on a minute. So I cover the phone, have a fictitious conversation with my client, go back and say, well, because they're saying, give me your client. And I'm saying, no, I'm going to do this. I mean, in my mind, I'm doing this. So then I tell them that, well, I'm sitting here with my client. We're going to go out and look at apartment buildings at 1 o'clock today. And I would like to show yours, but, and my client, he's saying he wants to work with me, not you. So I'm sorry, I won't be able to do that unless you get me a copy of the pro forma by 1 o'clock today. And he goes, what? I go, no, I'm just telling you, if you want me to show it and sell it to this guy, I got to have some information about it. So he says, okay. I go, wow. Said, got that one. So I did that a number of times and got, I think, 3 buildings to drive by. And a pro forma is the paperwork about the income, the expenses, profit, loss, all the information about it. So,
you made the sale.
Pardon me?
You made the sale.
Yes,
You made the sale.
I did.
There's a lot to unpack in there, Mom, because.
But wait a minute.
Okay.
Okay, well, we can move to the rest because the rest.
No, go ahead.
Okay.
Sorry.
So he didn't like any of them. And I go, oh man, no, I got to call those guys back and see if they have anything else. Okay, so I tried that, got nothing else. So I went to the newspaper. And lo and behold, there was an apartment building in Los Gatos in the price range the guy wanted to spend. I go, hallelujah. So I call and get the information on that. And in the next few days, they were looking at offers. And I go, wow, got to do this fast. Now I got to learn how to write this offer. So my manager helped me. So we got it right. And off I went to the presentation. I get there. And I'm the 10th offer. 10th offer. And at this conference table, there are the other 9 men. And I'm in my power hitter red suit, and they're not. They're dressed in their dull gray suits. And so I sit down, and the first thing they said to me is, you know, we've already shared our offer price. Now it's your turn to share yours. And I go, really? You guys shared them, huh? And they said, yeah. I said, well, now it's your turn to share them with me. And they go, well, no, you weren't here. And I go, well, you don't share yours, I don't share mine. Nobody wants another agent to know what they're offering because it gives the other person an advantage. You know, I'm smart enough to know that. And so the attorney comes out and says, you'll be last. That was me. I said, no problem. I have the best offer. What do I know? I don't know. But in my mind, I'm getting this. So I'm speaking to get it. And so I finally get in there, and they were all going to lunch to discuss it and decide which offer they were going to take. So I got a call later that they accepted another offer. And I said to the attorney who was doing the transaction, the sale, that, you know, mine was the best offer and I should have had it. It's my sale. He's like, is this lady crazy? And so I felt, honestly, it was the best offer. And so 2 days later, and I was put in backup position, which means if the first buyer doesn't perform, I get it. And 2 days later, I was put in first position, and I did close that transaction. So all of that happened. Only I was comfortable in my uncomfortable zone.
Mm-hmm.
Very uncomfortable. I mean, I was uncomfortable talking to agents that, I mean, don't want to talk to you and look down on you. And then to get there and be told, you can be last. And maybe I should have been last. I don't know. And I got there last. Maybe that was it. I don't know. But it made me, you know, feel more determined. Man, I'm going to show them I'm going to get this. And so just not giving up and staying in the uncomfortable zone and try to get comfortable there. And, you know, yeah.
Mom, there's so much to unpack there, because while it's, I think, easier for women today, it's still difficult. And I see the way that there's a difference women are treated and in different environments that I've been in, and back in the 70s and early 80s. And
it was blatant.
It was a very different time, for sure. And what I think about is that intestinal fortitude, or that fire in your belly that you know, it's almost like a fuck you attitude to some degree. So excuse me, anybody who doesn't like me swearing, I think it's the second time I've sworn. Thank you. Well, Zane has got me swearing much less, Mother. So
Well, he'll put that
I can't swear around Zane because you know what's going to happen. He's going to start. Yeah. But I found with entrepreneurs, we'll change it. Screw you. I'll show you. Right. That I can tell an entrepreneur when I see that kind of attitude coming out of them, which is like, oh yeah, I'll show you and I'll do it 10 times better. You know, that kind of thing. And that's what you were talking about right there, is this kind of like, whether you want to call it an F you attitude or screw you or I'll show you, it's the same kind of mindset. And I got it. I got it from you. Where did that come from for you?
Who knows? I showed up with it.
Uh-huh. You showed up with it, huh?
I showed up with it when I was a child. So you did too.
Yeah, I think so. Zane has it as well. He's got it. He's very determined, and I can see it. Kenny Hopkins is laughing at us right now, saying it won't be the last time that I'll swear.
Probably not.
You're probably right, Kenny. Thanks for being here today. You came with it. Do you think you can learn that? Do you think you can learn that, or is that something you have to have inside of you? Because I literally credit that attitude for how I got through all those difficult years going in and out of schools. Can you learn it? Can you learn how to have that, or is that an innate characteristic that somehow is part of you?
Well, I'm not an expert. I don't know, but I would think yes. I've worked at teaching this to other people. Some do, some don't.
Some people just have a different kind of mindset, Mom, and they can. I'm not sure if this one thing we're talking about can be learned, because it's rare to find. It's not a common behavior pattern in people. Maybe some of the people we hang around with, because we hang around with a lot of people who are driven, motivated, for the most part, and so we're going to see them differently. But if you had worked with literally thousands and thousands of businesses like I have, you'll start seeing patterns and behaviors of people. Yeah. And the rare behavior is that I'll show you. You can't tell me I can't do it, right? That's why I say don't ask permission. Don't ask for permission, do it. Ask for forgiveness on the other side. Because if you ask for permission, they're going to say no, because in their mind they can't do it. They can't see how it's done. So do it. Don't ask permission, right? What do you think of that?
Yes. You
agree?
Yes. Now, it may not work in every instance, like with the police or something, But,
So the caveat, if it's a police officer, remember they have power, you want to follow. But in general, like if you have an idea for something and people seem to want to ask permission before they go and take action, and I'm just saying it's not about asking permission, it's going and doing it. And that's an entrepreneurial trait at the core.
Don't know, it's just me. Because, for instance, if I ask all those commercial brokers, which I did, the answer was no. Right. You're residential and you're a woman. No. And then when they realized, and I told them that my client had a huge down payment, they said, he's sitting here with all this cash and you're telling me I can't show your apartment buildings, you don't want to sell them. And then when that didn't work, it's like, okay, heavy gun comes in. We're gonna do this no matter what. I mean, that's me when I start something, and that's how with you. And when you were a child, I wasn't gonna give up. I mean, I was determined that you were gonna make it and have a life. Here you are, and so
miracles never cease.
That's right. Yeah, no, it's my affirmations, damn it.
I know. It's part of my life. It's in my DNA, Let's talk about reality distortion. Like the difference between affirmations and reality distortion? We won't talk about that. You're not really a reality distorter. You're more of like a get the goal done, nothing's going to stop me person.
I'm a very expeditious person.
Reality distortion is another technique, but it's more around enrolling people to do things they normally wouldn't do otherwise.
Yeah, that's what I did.
I know. I think you've got some reality distortion in there capacities, because I know I have it. I can distort reality really, and I've practiced, right? You're a woman, and you got into real estate when there were very few. You were one of the first women to get into real estate early days.
Early on, I would say, yeah.
Early on, and first women going into real estate. And then, what advice? We work with a lot of women. I work with a lot of women. We're empowering women. I believe and data is showing, and what we've seen with thousands of women that we've touched and coached and worked with over the years, that they make better entrepreneurs. They're more collaborative. They're more team-oriented. They're more willing to hire locally. They can put off instant gratification for long term, so they can see the goal in the long term for the work they're having to do now will pay off longer term. There's a whole slew of things, and Harvard just came out with research last year that quantifies what we were seeing. That women just are at the top 15 leadership traits. Women rate higher on 13 of the leadership traits for business, right? You're not surprised. I can see it here. I'm not surprised either, right? I knew it. But everybody wants, where's the hard, cold facts? Here they are now. Harvard, go look it up. But what is it you would recommend? What advice do you have for women out there who are watching this show? And there are women around the world watching this show right now who could use a jolt of inspiration from a woman, like I can't do it as a man, that would help them be stronger as they go forward, particularly in a male-dominated, like a lot of countries we work in, it's still male-dominated, much like it was in the 70s. Now, same. And so a woman comes in, and the men are just not. They're just not pleasant, right? And they're trying to sabotage in some cases. What would you recommend?
Well, you have to be determined. I mean, I have a goal, and you're determined it's going to happen. And once that determination in you is there, it starts like boiling, and it gets stronger. Like, nobody's going to stop me because I'm going to do this. And if you can believe it, you have a very good chance it's going to happen. If you don't believe it, you're saying, I'm going to try. There is no trying. You can't, nothing's going to happen if you try. You have to do it. That's it. It's in the doing and the speaking. So when you're, I don't know how much you can speak.
Mom, your microphone. It's muted or it's covered up.
No.
There it is. We can hear you now.
Okay.
Sorry to interrupt. Go ahead.
Can you hear me?
Yep, we can hear you.
Okay. I was just saying, did you get any of that?
Oh yeah, most of it. There's a little point. You keep going. Just pick up where you were.
I'm just talking, you know.
You're doing great. I mean, it's around women. We're trying to empower women. Women who are involved in male-dominated industries are dealing with men who are just awful.
I don't know how much freedom they have for speaking to men. You know, it's like me. I was just cocky. You know, that I have the best offer. So whatever you want to do, make me wait or whatever, it doesn't matter. Because waiting for 9 other offers to be presented is a very long-term wait. You know,
Right.
It's not short. Somebody had to do it, and it was me, and that was okay. All the while, I'm just going, I'm getting this sale. This is my sale. All those guys, they might as well go home. You know, that's the way I'm thinking. And so it has so much to do with what you think and what you say. That's the whole thing.
Yeah.
If you can stick with it and be uncomfortable, because I was very uncomfortable there. I can't tell you. I mean, my heart was pounding, and but I stuck it out and acted like I was comfortable, and guess what? It worked.
Well, I think that it's clear that your internal drive and determination is really a big part of what sets you apart, and that your ability to be in very uncomfortable situations and not be intimidated, even if you were being intimidated, they didn't know it, right?
No, they didn't.
Pavarotti says every time he went on stage, he had butterflies. And when he didn't have butterflies, he got uncomfortable because what's going on. So
I can tell you
comfort's part of it.
So I used to get butterflies too. Every time I went to make a listing presentation, I met a buyer, presented an offer. I just, you know, and then over time, they went away. They left.
You get comfortable being uncomfortable, right? And then it's not comfortable anymore.
Yes, absolutely. So there is an end in sight. It just takes time. And some people are more quicker than others, and others a long time.
There is no shortcuts. Like people want shortcuts everywhere, right? Silver bullets.
No, mine was not.
It doesn't seem to be the case, and you've got to like go through it to get to it. You know, you got to sing the blues. You got to feel the blues before you can sing the blues, right? Sort of thing. You got to deal with it. I think Amy has a couple questions. I'm gonna pull her in.
I put them in the sidebar, but the first one is
you go.
Noreen. Passionate, determined people aren't just that way in one area of their lives, I have found. But that's my singularly held opinion. Do you think that is true as well? I mean, you talked about determination in your career, and then the determination required to go out and be an advocate for Sean and for other kids who needed something more than the systems were offering. I was wondering what you think about that, right? Passionate, determined people aren't just that way in one area of their lives. Do you think that is true? Why or why not? And I have another question following it, but I'll jump off of here while you question.
Well, absolutely, because I mean it's true. Because you're passionate. Once you once you get the success from what you did, so did I know that was going to happen? Yes. And so did
It
I?
didn't surprise you when the sale happened. You're like, of course it did.
Yeah, and so once you get something like that, because people in my office didn't think I would get it. And I told them, you don't know, I'm going to have this sale. And, there I was. So that's one part of my life. So you can be passionate about a lot of things. Hobbies, people are crazy. I was for a while. And, but then I just gave up hobbies for real estate and didn't really do much anymore. So, you could have, there's no limit. It's your mind.
But you literally, it's almost you're irrational, and you probably it's possible people thought you were a little crazy, because listen to her talk. So she's going to close that deal. There's no way she's going to close that deal because it's not going to happen. But yet it still happened. So how you just have to have like thick skin, Teflon skin, because I'm sure there were people who thought you were kind of nuts when you'd say, I'm not worried about it. It's going to happen, right?
Well, they did, because there I was, the newest person in the office. Nobody had ever sold anything in commercial. And there I was saying, I'm going to do this. It was crazy.
Mm-hmm.
And as far as if you look from the outside, well, even inside in real estate, it was crazy. They just didn't believe it was possible. So I gave them the impossible and did it and said, you too can do that.
What happened afterwards? What was their reaction afterwards? Just curious.
Surprise.
Huh?
Surprise.
Yeah, it probably changed them a little bit too, right? They just never would, it probably took them another time before they figure out they can't underestimate you, huh?
Yeah. So it gives other people hope, that maybe they could do that. You just have to step up, decide to do it, and do it. That's really all it is.
So I found in my life, when I'm underestimated, which I've been underestimated a few times, that I use that to my advantage, because that underestimation means that I can outsmart and do wraparounds, back end it. I can do all kinds, go under, over, wherever I need to do, right? Have you found that to be true as well, that if you're underestimated, turn that to your advantage?
Yeah, I think maybe it did. And
I mean, you may have never thought about it this way, but you probably took advantage of situations where people were underestimating you because you actually have more capacity to get stuff done because they don't think you can do it. So they're not really paying attention, or they're just
they're blowing you off. They're going
they're blowing you off. So all of a sudden they're not paying attention to all the progress you're making on the side.
Yeah, I'm sure that's true. Yeah.
Interesting. Okay, Amy.
But my one more thing.
Great. Okay.
Specific for this situation. Determined women can sometimes be portrayed as abrasive or other unflattering words. Why is being determined and goal-driven, ambitious even, seen as a negative trait in women and a positive trait in men? It's just I get that it's sexist. Okay, beyond that, like your experience of that, what's your suggestion or advice for that?
Well, it's just a form of trying to keep you down. If you buy into what they're thinking, then you're not on your goal. You just have to stay focused, is my opinion. And this is from a lot of years of selling. I've sold everything in real estate, land. I sold an office building. There were things that residential just doesn't do. And because it's so hard to get the cooperation of the other people that you need to do it.
What Amy was talking about is really important, because I could be behaving one way, which would be me just being me, and you could be being you, just being you, but you could be interpreted different than I'm being interpreted because you're a woman. That's what Amy's getting at, right? So you would be considered abrasive, bitchy, whatever the term may be, right? I'm not saying that's the case, but those are the terms that are used, right? And that.
Yeah, I don't think I come across that way. I come across when I'm trying to get something from somebody, like the deal. No, I'm just as nice as you can be. Determined, yeah, but I'm not abrasive. I wouldn't do that.
No. I think it's an interpretation, Mom. I think that, that we're generalizing. Amy was generalizing, and I think it's a really important generalization that it's a perception, and it's men's insecurity, right? We got Patty Jones, Barbano Jones up here, who put a quote, and it's men who are insecure, right? Can you see the quote there? Which posted, right? Men are insecure, right? And they get insecure, and so I think strong women,
they're protecting,
highlight this for them in some way that causes them to feel like they have to dominate or take over or protect themselves in some way.
It's protection. They're afraid that if you let women in, there'll be less for them. See, they're coming from a place of scarcity.
Mm-hmm.
So you can come from a place of scarcity or abundance. Right. And they're in scarcity. They're afraid that if you make whatever you're going to do, it's going to cut their business, not that it's going to help and everybody's going to have enough. So you have to live in abundance. You who are having this happen to you, that you can make it happen and you will be abundantly rewarded for it, which is money and abundance of money. And that's I think at the core of the basic fear. And some men just don't like women. I mean,
right.
That's something I don't know, the way it is.
Well, I found women, I can get farther faster with women than I can with men most of the time working. And, I think at one point, one of my companies was 100% women, one man, me. And, just got farther faster, I think. I believe. I know I do. I know we did. And so fascinating. Those are really interesting. I think before we go, and there's still more questions that are rolling in my head, but instead of going down these paths, we got some questions, Mom. Would you be willing to coach with me?
Oh, sure.
Let's just do a little coaching, and then you can get on with your Memorial Day weekend. We got a question, Amy? Maybe. Here we go. I'll read it out loud. How do I protect my ideas? Great question. I have a proprietary process methodology for marketing and sales. I want to deliver it widely as a service offering. How can I share it with others and also protect it? Maybe a book or a patent. What do you think? Okay. You want me to take that first, Mom?
Sure.
First of all, I learned an important lesson from a gentleman by the name of Nolan Bushnell, founder of Atari and Chuck E. Cheese, who was a mentor of mine. And he said, you can't protect any idea. No idea can be protected. This was his philosophy. And that the only protection is to take action on that idea and bring it into the marketplace. And so part of what happens is people are so tied up in protecting their idea that they never share it. They never talk about it. They never release it. So the protection becomes so strong, and fear of somebody stealing their idea becomes so strong that they're unwilling to move on that idea. Just by putting a TM, a trademark, by names, automatically by that date starts registering that as a trademark. You can get copyrights, patents. You have to have an attorney advise you on how to do that, because once you get a patent, it's published. One slight modification and it's not your patent anymore. So even patents are difficult to protect because they're published and people can see them. So the best way I've found, particularly when you're talking about something that's a service or a methodology, which all it takes is a slight modification or twist and it's not yours anymore, go out, do it. Start selling it, start promoting it, start getting it out there. The more you get it out there, the more it gets branded with you, not somebody else. Take smart steps, have a lawyer, look at your stuff, advise you. Remember when we talked about lawyers, and we'll have a lawyer on here specifically before the end of 31 days, you want a lawyer who's looking at the worst case scenario. Sorry, I'm learning how to use the camera. Worst case scenario, best case scenario, and the range in between, because most lawyers look at the worst case scenario first. So you don't want to be so focused on the worst case. You want to understand your best case as well and make a decision somewhere in the middle. So a lawyer who has the capacity to look at best and worst case is critical, particularly patent attorneys and copyright attorneys, because sometimes they can't help it. Their brains are on the worst case scenarios. So let me repeat. One, you can't really protect any idea. The best way to protect your idea is to take action and start putting it out there, start selling it, start getting people to see it, put trademarks on it, contact a lawyer, have that lawyer start advising you on the best way to protect your methodologies, your practices, whatever it is you're trying to trademark or copyright or patent. These also cost a lot of money, so don't forget, and take a lot of time. And then start protecting it over time. But you can start releasing and going forward with all your methodologies and practices now while you're protecting it over time. One last thought before I pass it to my mom, and that is, I have a lot of trademarks, a lot of copyrights. We've been for the past 3 years defending one of my copyrights and trademarks, and it's costly. And in the end, I may have won the case and I may have won it, and I had an obligation because I had a registered trademark. I had an obligation where I had to pursue it. So now, once you register a trademark and it becomes a registered trademark, you now are under an obligation to go pursue anybody who's going against your registered trademark. Because if you don't, you can lose your trademark because you didn't take action to protect your trademark. So there's a lot of issues associated with getting trademarks, copyrights, and patents. You have to defend it. There's a lot of cost associated with it. You need a lawyer to be advising you. But don't let that stop you from going and starting to sell, particularly if you've got a service, a product, or something people want and need. Once you start selling it, it'll become much easier to protect. What are your thoughts, Mom?
I don't know anything about trademarks and all of that. It's like in real estate. We share, like if you have some successful verbiage that works for you, we share it with other people. I mean, not everyone does that, but an awful lot of realtors do. And so it brings abundance when we're sharing things, and we don't, unless you're going to be a speaker and train people like you're doing, you wouldn't trademark. I mean, it's not something we do. I don't know anything about that.
Yeah, I think it's important to do it. And I've been trademarking for as long as I can remember. And it's just, it's important. It makes you feel good. It gives you some legalities, but are you going to go trademark in every country, 100, 200 and some countries? You'd have to trademark across different countries. Each country, it gets very expensive. The reality is there's really no way, and I believe Nolan Bushnell after time, there's no way to really protect your idea. The best protection is execution, right? So ideas are open source. Execution is proprietary. It's the execution that's the most important. People get hung up on the idea that their idea is so important, but it's not the idea. It's the execution, and that's where it's hard, because it goes back to what you were talking about this morning: is what's the goal? What are the affirmations you have to follow with that goal? And then what are the actionable steps you're going to take to get that, to make that goal real? And that's where most people, a majority of people, somewhere around 75% of the people don't do it. It's pretty amazing. We have another question. One more, Amy. Getting longer. I believe in myself and my business dreams, and I am optimistic. It will be successful in the long term. It takes an enormous amount of time. What is keeping me awake at night is the toll of my relationships and the massive guilt I feel for being distracted, an absent partner, son, and friend. Does that feeling go away, or do you find you get desensitized to it? Oh boy. I'm gonna let you take that one, Mom, because you've got a job where at any moment you would get a call and you'd have to go do work. So you could be in the middle of a family activity or something, and all of a sudden you gotta leave. So you know something about this question. What's your thoughts?
Well, I guess it's a choice, and as the years went by, I made a different choice. And instead of being at the whim of the client, I decided, I spend a lot of time with them. In those days, there wasn't computers much. They were brand new, and there wasn't iPhones. There wasn't even a cell phone. That came
Right.
later.
Well, they were giants, and
There wasn't even a fax machine, and so so it was. You spent a lot of time running around that now you wouldn't have to do, or you didn't even earlier have to do. And so I made a conscious decision that I spend more time with the people I love opposed to the people I like. I didn't love my clients, I liked them. And so for me, I solved that problem for myself by just shifting. And what I found for me is when I would say, because we used to do offers, all of them at nighttime, and you'd go there at 7 o'clock and you'd be there till 10 o'clock or so, depending on the client. It was always a long-term project talking about it.
Right.
So what I found is to just call them and say, I have an offer coming in this afternoon at 2 o'clock. Could you be in my office? And 9 out of 10 times they came. They dropped everything to come and look at the offer. You didn't have to go to their house at nighttime. So that left me at home at night.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I don't know in every industry if you can, arrange it in the same
Well,
way.
I think that you can design your life, right? And so I think that what happens, and it's happened to me numerous times, is where I get swept away with what I'm working on, and it becomes all consuming, and all of a sudden I'm into 20-hour days. And there's got to be an intentionality. And so I think that I bought into, if I wasn't working 20 hours every day, no vacations, I wasn't getting it done, right? It wasn't happening. And that was one of my competitive advantages, is that I'm unstoppable. I work 24/7, 365, no problem. I can do this. And I did, and I can, but it's not healthy. And so for the person who asked this question, I think what's important is it's not about getting used to it or having other people get used to it, because they will get used to it and then they'll start ignoring you. They won't have confidence in you. They won't pay attention. They won't think you're dependable, because the only thing you're dependable on is what you're doing as far as your work. And so what I've found, and what I've learned slowly as time, is to be more intentional about hours. And Zane's helped me create structure in a way that's totally new to me. I'm sure you tried to create structure in my life at one point. And so, but my day goes, and there's Zane time in the morning, and there's Zane time in the evening, afternoon, or evening nights. And that helps me to kind of compartmentalize and have more balance in my day. Even right now on weekends, I take more time on weekends than I've ever taken. There's still work done on weekends, but it's scheduled during nap times, or it's scheduled during specific times where Seema watches Zane, or I watch Zane for her. So there's got to be a balance, but you've got to be more intentional about the design, particularly entrepreneurs who get sucked into something that is 24/7, 365, and could take every second of your time. You've got to be more intentional, because it'll want you, it'll suck you, you can never get enough of what you need to give it. And so unless you make the choice to separate those times and separate your daily schedule and create more of a routine, I'm afraid you'll continue to run into this challenge, and you'll have people disappointed in you because you're not available to them. And in this case, it sounds like it's family members. So I would be focused on how to design your life.
I want to say, in real estate, there's a high divorce rate because the realtor's never there.
All right.
Phone
Makes
calls
sense.
are gone. Birthday party, oh, I got to go take care of this. I got to, whatever. So there's a very high divorce rate.
I'm one. I got divorced, and I really believe it was because I was just working 20 plus hours a day, every day, all day, every week, every month. And so for years, right? Ridiculous.
It is addictive too. I mean,
well, right, because it's easy to get into, right? It's an easy flow, and it's very natural, and you're doing your thing, right?
I was having fun.
Right. Well, sure, it's fun, but then it also is a situation where there are points now where I can see where I went overboard, right? And
You
I think
think?
it's important for the person who asked this question to really think about what's most important to you.
Right.
How can you fit everything that's important to you into a daily schedule? Write out a schedule. That's what I've started doing. I particularly when we started 31 Days for Pad 2, I had to create a daily schedule, or otherwise I wouldn't get through the days. And so scheduling your time is one of the best ways, I think, to be effective in terms of reducing the stress on your family by running or starting a business, which can be difficult, just period. Or in real estate, same thing. You're basically self-employed and running your own business as a realtor.
Do we have time for another? We've got 3 more, but I don't need to do 3 more. They could roll over. But if you'd like to answer another one, or do you want to?
We'll do one more, Amy.
Okay.
And then we got to announce our winner of the one-on-one coaching. Do you have a business plan? Do I have to have a business plan? Is there a template you suggest? What if I don't have one? Can I still do business? Okay. So my first thing is burn the business plan. Forget the business plan. What you need is more specifics around your business model. There's really 3 questions you have to answer. What's your product and service? Who's your customer? How do you make money? And then what you want to do is develop an action plan around that, understand the value that that product or service makes, and start selling it immediately. When I talk about selling, I'm talking about now. So I think you build that plan and you build that model over time by taking action on it. We have a business model scorecard I've developed, which helps you focus on what value does that product and service create? What value? Why is somebody going to buy it? And then 2, what's that product and service and defining that product and service? And when I talk about a customer with people, I try to help them come up, particularly if you're starting a business, what are your top 5 customers you can sell to right now today? Right now today, who can you sell to? Who are they? Names, go sell. Now, you start generating revenue, you start getting action, you start getting people interested in what you're working on. You're evolving your business model, you're evolving your plan of action as you go forward. We had Ted Cundiff on here, so there is a caveat. If you're trying to get money from a bank, they're probably going to look for more of a business plan kind of document. But it's moved to a place where you can put your whole business model into 12 slide decks. So do a search on Google, look for slide decks for pitches from businesses, the most famous business you can think of. You're going to see their pitch deck. It's going to be available to you. There you go. And you can then use a slide deck to articulate your business model in a more effective way to people. But overall, don't spend a lot of time doing a lot of research, no market studies. Again, the business plan as we knew it is gone, dead, so long, see ya. What you want to focus on is your business model and accelerate it into the marketplace as quick as possible. I like to see people start selling now, today, not days, not weeks, not months, now. And sales is one of your most effective ways for research, because people will give you honest feedback when you're trying to take money out of your pocket. They'll tell you, hey, I'm not interested, but if you tweaked it this way, I'd buy 10 of them. So that's the most effective way I've found to not only create revenue quickly, but to understand the market and what people are willing to pay for and what they want. So no business plan. Go for the business model and focus solely on getting that product and service into the market and identify those top 5 to 10 customers and start selling as quickly as you possibly can. That will help you then start effectively designing, and you're not guessing on how you're moving forward. Mom?
Yeah, in real estate, it is recommended to have what they call a business plan. And that's pretty simple compared to, most businesses. What you expect to do, how you're going to do it, and how many sales it takes to attain your goal of your income for the year, and things like that. They call it a business plan, but it's not.
A lot of that's goal setting, though, Mom. And
yeah, I know, and that's why I said they call it a business plan, but it's not. And it would include how much you're going to spend on advertising, that kind of thing.
Sure. So it's not that having a plan, but the plan is really more tied to an actionable plan. It's the action plan that's more that you need. The business model is what you're performing the action plan on, but a business plan as we've known it is not where it takes months to produce and long, lots of research and lots of documentation, spreadsheet for days. Gone. Forget about it. Show me that you've got a customer and you can sell to that customer and they're buying your product or service. You can sell right now with no website, no business cards, no anything. Whatever you've got, you can start selling it now. And you can start taking that money in cash and start building out as you go forward. But I'm a big fan of around the world now, not later.
Sounds like a good plan.
Yeah, it's a very good plan, Mom. Mom, thanks for being here today. We have a winner.
Enjoyed it.
What?
I enjoyed it.
I enjoy your always being here too, Mom. Thank you so much.
Have an awesome day.
We'll see you again next Sunday. That will be our last Sunday. It'll be the last day of 31 days to Pat 2. You and me.
Okay.
We'll have some other special guests on that day, so it'll be we're not sure about the format, but it's going to be good.
Okay.
Thanks, Mom.
See you then. Bye.
Give Pat a big hug. Love you.
Yes, I will.
Wow. Always interesting dialogues and discussions with my mother, Noreen. Thanks for being here, and thanks for inspiring me all my life, and now inspiring other people who are watching and participating in 31 Days to Pat 2. Okay, we have a winner for another 1 hour of one-on-one visual coaching with me. We're going to record those. You'll be able to have those. We're not going to broadcast them. We're going to record them just for you. I'm going to be visualizing as we go, and we will be overcoming your biggest challenges and accelerating your endeavor forward as fast as we possibly can. Okay, that is Sergey G is the winner. Sergey G is the winner. Congratulations, Sergey, and continue to apply. I'll be doing one coaching session a day for the rest of May. And get your applications in there. It's not very difficult, but the results will change and potentially change your life. All right, we'll see you again tomorrow. Same Pat 2 time, same Pat 2 place. Thank you very much.
You got to never ever give up. Keep it up, keep it up. Never ever give up. Keep it up, keep it up. Never ever give up. Never ever give up.
Believe in yourself and you'll go far.